Welcome to HI 2006, Australian and Pacific Exploration. For me, this is a really fun subject, and I hope you'll enjoy it too. It deals with ideas about the unknown, encounters between very different groups of people, and underpinning it are questions of quite what exploration is and what records it leaves. When we start this subject, we start with European notions of the world and the traditional idea of who an explorer is. We bump into the Americas, realize there's more to the world than traditionally thought, and head out into the Pacific. I love this part of the subject, as we voyage across this, to Europeans, new sea. But this is a history of encounters, and Europeans are perplexed by this. Every time they pull up at an island that they have only just been able to arrive at, they find people already there. This is a matter we return to in the final section of the subject. After rolling through past European thought on the matter, we look at how people actually explored the Pacific for the first time. Unfortunately, for various reasons, there's limited evidence and no written records of this process, but we get there and we discuss why this history is important. This subject is about Australia as well as the Pacific, and Australia has its place in Pacific and Indian Ocean voyaging. We look at the way the continent took shape and the relationship between the continent of Australia and the imagined continent of Terra Australis Incognita. Exploring a continent as well as an ocean gives the subject an interesting twist. We can see the ways in which European explorers dealt with some of the same issues on land as on the water, and the ways in which encounter and exploration are intertwined on land as well. We'll also consider, briefly, how well Australia is known in the 21st century. One of the essential parts of this subject is reading explorer journals. Throughout the subject, you will be reading excerpts from journals and looking at maps, and we'll be discussing them in tutorial. And this is challenging because you'll be reading them against the grain. The journals are like time capsules, and often they contain information that their authors didn't know about. In addition, the maps and journals let us look into the heads of their creators and examine how they saw the world. It's challenging, but it's fun. And here's how we are going to do all that. Please have a look through the subject outline before the start of the semester. At the end is a section dealing with the topics we cover. I find them all fascinating, which is why we cover them, but you can focus in on regions or time periods that interest you when it comes to your assessment items. And please note that while I've included a list of required reading for each week in the subject outline, you don't have to search for them. They can be accessed using the readings list for this subject, and online copies are easy to come by, starting from LearnJCU. When looking at the subject outline, make sure you look at the assessment item descriptions, so you're prepared for what is to come. At JCU, we are incorporating digital history into our subjects and our assessments. In this subject, you will create an online map, which is assessment item 1, although the actual due date for this piece of work varies between groups. The subject outline steps you through what is expected, and the reading list contains some items to help you think about the project. The topic is completely open, and I hope your group thinks of something it can enjoy pinning on a map. I should note that this assessment item involves group work and a presentation. If either of those elements is problematic for you, please get in touch with me quickly so we can arrange alternative assessment. Assessment item 2 comes in more quickly. In week 2 of the subject, I will present you with a choice of 5 items. You pick one and you analyse it. This is a chance to engage with a primary source document, and primary sources are the raw stuff of history. You'll need to do some research to do this well. You need to place the document in its context and establish what is going on in it. Fortunately, I've arranged support from the library, and Clara Vasca will run you through useful ways to get started. Assessment item 3 is something you're probably more familiar with, a research essay. This is your opportunity to delve into the facet of this course that most intrigues you. I've provided a list of topics, but be aware of the last item. You can create your own topic. But if you do, you need to discuss that topic with me. This is so I can give advice about whether it's manageable and whether there is material to support it. I think that's probably about as much welcome as you can take at this point. Run you through the subject, including its quirks and big themes. I've alerted you to the assessment items you will need to produce. Please spend some time with the subject outline and please settle in and enjoy this subject. I'm looking forward to talking with you in tutorial.